Okay, in this quick tutorial, I'll be showing you how to export out of Cinema 4D. I'm also going to review adding texture as well as a couple of tips when you're working in this program. The first tip is when you are, let's say you're working in the program and you're doing, moving your object around, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my god, how do I go back to my main scene, the default setting of the scene, because we've completely changed the positioning of our object here. So to go back to the default setting, you need to choose edit and choose frame default. This edit is the scenes edit, so we have two different edits. Okay, so this one affects the entire project, but if you're dealing with the scene, you want to choose the smaller edit, the scene edit here, and choose frame default. Another thing, let's say we're working in the lab and somebody comes here and changes the measurement units to from frames to time based. To change that to the default setting, which is frames for Cinema 4D, we want to choose edit. We want to choose preferences. Now we're doing the project edit, by the way. We choose project edit, preferences, and under there's a lot of different things here that we would want to probably look at some point. But from the units, we're going to change that animation unit to frames. Okay. So so that's that. So also I'm going to actually import a picture so I can review what I did in the previous video. So to import like, let's say, a custom texture that I could put on top of this animation, we want to choose the material object, file, new material, and then when we click on it from this panel here, I'm going to move this up so I can see better. Under texture, we're going to click on this button here, and we're going to choose from the file that I have already created. I'm actually going to import. You want to make sure you have a folder that has the images or the files that you want to use for your projects, and you're going to import it. And basically we see preview of it right here. Also, let's say by mistake you close one of these panels here. You're like, oh my god, what happened? It's all, so you can't find it. You want to choose, like, if you want to bring everything back to where it was under window, you want to choose layout, and I think you can't. Let me move this so you can see it. We're going to choose window, layout, and we're going to choose where's the default setting? Standard. Okay, so that's going to put everything back to where it was. I'm going to make the panel smaller. Remember, this is a shell, so I just need to make it smaller so you guys can see what I'm doing here. Okay, here we go. So now I'm going to I have my animation. Let's just see here. I have my animation, and I'm going to add it to my object here. So basically, just once you create it, you can just drag it over, and I'm going to preview that. Again, this is my preview option here, and I actually don't like the way this looks. Again, if I want to see, simultaneously the preview of my object, I can go in the middle clipboard and choose interactive render region, and this one I can resize it to where I want to see the object. And I'm also going to it's a little tight here, and then I'm going to, the slider also makes the quality, it's a quality slider, so if it's high, it gives me the best quality. If it's in the middle, it just renders it to something that, medium quality. But This one you want to keep it here for preview purposes because it takes, you know, it's going to be faster preview option here. So once we have the setting, I can see what this looks like. And again, remember with my text, I added my text over here, and then I added an extrude nerve over here, and I made my text the child of the extrude nerve. So this is all a review from the previous video tutorial that you saw. But going back here, now I actually don't like how the map is inside the text. So if I double click the globe, basically I see the entire, you know, I see my picture, and there's a bunch of settings that I'll discuss later. I want this map to be on the top of my picture, which means that I need to change its projection setting. If you double click the picture, this globe that's I've added, this material that I've added to this piece, you get all these options here to manipulate the picture, the actual image. This brightness, I could change the image, I could offset the image, that type of thing. If I want to change its projection, I click once on the picture, and then I get a brand new set of options. And under the projection setting, you see that there is a drop down menu, and if I click it, I have a bunch of options here. I like you to explore them, but based on my experience and what I'm looking at, the one that I want to use for this purpose would be cubic. And as soon as I click on the cubic, you see that now my map is all over the picture. But I encourage you to explore all these other options as well. Okay, so now I'm ready to export this animation out. I'm going to turn off my interactive region, and this first clipboard from the right, the black and white one, once I click it, it basically takes me to this panel which shows me the options, how the rendering options. So I'm going to set my rendering options here, and then I have to go to a different panel to export it out. So this is the settings that I would need to kind of modify. So general, full render, output. I'm going to leave this at 320 by 240 because I want this file to be fairly small. This is important, frame range. It says it's going to render from 0 point to 0 point. You want to look at your animation, and my animation is 90 frames, so I'm going to actually change my I leave it at 1 and change my 2. I'm going to say render from 1 frame to frame 90. I'm going to go to save. This is also very important. I have to tell it where to save my file. So I'm going to click. I'm going to get this panel here, and let's say I'm going to say export. And the format, we want to make sure that it's actually I'm going to make it just save it in the right place because I don't think I have it. I'm going to save it here, export, and then I'm going to change the format to QuickTime Movie. Then I'm going to click on anti-aliasing, change the anti-aliasing to best, change the filter to animation, and for now, basically I've created these settings that's going to be locked in, and now I'm going to go back to this middle clapboard, and I'm going to choose render to picture viewer. Once I click, it automatically starts to render out my file. And if I come back here, I'm going to actually move this so you can see. It's my folder, and basically the movie is right here. It's 717 kilobytes, really small, and this is my basic animation here. Okay, so this is how you use preview. Basically, this is how you export your animation into a QuickTime Movie. Again, you want to, as a review, this is this one clipboard that is on the far right hand side. This is where you create your settings, and this is where you actually send it out, send the movie out to be rendered to picture viewer. If you want to preview, make a preview, you can actually choose make preview, but you know, I mean, you might as well just make the movie if it's going to be a small size. This last option is just gives you the rendered preview of your model.